Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. Hopefully you're all having an amazing creative day. So today we're going to answer a question from a new photographer about temperature and camera. And I'm going to screw on this Walking Away retro soft focus filter on the camera because why not use this as an opportunity to test out a filter? Because filters are fun, right? So, all right, question is, how cold is too cold to leave my camera in the car? I like to take it with me in case I see something interesting, but I also have work. It's a boot, 30 degrees Fahrenheit here. A boot because I'm Canadian. So 30 degrees Fahrenheit is about -1 Canadian, and there's two answers to this question, long answer, short answer. Short answer is -1, you probably don't have to worry about it, but let's talk about the long answer. All right, so there's two things we gotta talk about, And one is the change in temperature damaging your LCD screens, and the other is a change in temperature from hot to cold or cold to hot, which creates condensation in the camera. So, I mean, I've taken my camera out in about -15, that's my limit. Anything beyond -15 Celsius Fahrenheit down here. And it just, for me personally, it's too cold for me to enjoy the shooting and the photographic process out there because it just, you get frostbite and your fingers start to freeze, like, yeah, I guess your blood freezes or something. It's hard to like articulate your fingers and your knees get cold and all that stuff. So for those of you who shoot polar bears and penguins and all that stuff in like temperatures that are beyond -15, kudos to you. You guys are warriors, that's tough. But yeah, it's awesome that you guys do that. So for me personally, up to -15, I haven't had any issues with any cameras, LCD screens or anything like that. So everything just works. Beyond that, I know, I guess you take your chances. So the first thing I want to talk about is the LCD screen. So LCD screens, LCD, you've got two of them on your camera. You got the LCD screen on the back, and your electronic viewfinder is also an LCD. So LCD stands for liquid crystal display. And of course, at what temperature do things freeze? There you go. So according to what you find on the web, you're not really supposed to take your liquid crystal displays into below zero temperatures, into freezing temperatures, because there's a chance that you could damage the screen, you lose some pixels, things freeze, crack, or something like that. Personally, I've never had any issues like that. I've never known anybody who's had issues like that, but there are stories online, if you go and Google it, that, you know, people run into that. But again, like, I think up to -15, you should be fine. If you go -20, -30, -40, you know, you're taking your chances there. So that's the first thing you got to keep in mind. And again, if you're leaving your car and your camera overnight and it's -1, don't worry about it. But if it's supposed to drop down to -30 overnight or -40 or something like that, you probably want to bring your camera inside, which brings us to condensation. So condensation happens naturally, right? If you bring your camera from like -5 outside inside your house, all of a sudden condensation, you'll notice beads of water forming around the lens or the metal parts of the camera, maybe even inside your lens. And this is bad because that water also forms on the circuitry in your camera. And the water itself will probably evaporate anyway, but water is corrosive. So you're corroding those circuits, the connection points, the contacts, whatever the case may be. And you know, maybe 1 or 2 times it's not going to really hurt the camera, but if you do it repetitively, you're probably going to end up corroding a circuit. And now I made that mistake, and I've done that. I killed my, I think it was a 20D back in the day, but it wasn't in the cold. I killed it in the heat. So, I mean, obviously you don't want to you take your camera in the cold, you bring it in, you get condensation. But if you're shooting in a tropical climate and it's like +40 with humidity, and you have your camera in a safe in your room, and you have your air conditioner turned up, and it's like, you know, what did it say, 18 degrees, 15 degrees, whatever the case may be, in your hotel room, and then you take your camera and you go outside, all of a sudden your lens fogs up, right? The condensation, right? And that also happens inside the camera with the circuits as well. So if you're shooting in tropical places, you got to be careful with condensation. And if you're shooting in extremely cold places, you got to worry about condensation. So the trick to avoiding condensation happening in and on your camera is to take your camera and put it in a Ziploc bag, an airtight bag. You can put it in a plastic bag, whatever the case may be, doesn't matter. As long as it's more or less airtight, the more airtight, the better. So put it in the bag, zip it up, and then if you're coming in from the cold, leave your camera by your front door where it's coolest, or leave it in the basement where it's nice and cool. You don't want to take your camera from like -10 all the way into like +20 inside your living room. You want to leave it by the door where it's a little cooler. Maybe it's like 15 degrees, 10 degrees, or your basement. That way your camera can acclimatize to the warmer temperature without the condensation happening. And of course, if your LCD screen is kind of frozen and you bring it into the heat, that fluctuation from extreme cold to extreme heat can also cause damage. So what happens with the bag is the condensation forms on the bag instead of on the camera and in the camera. So that's just a little trick. If you're shooting in cold or humid conditions, just bring a bag with you. I mean, Ziploc bags are pennies, right? Just throw a bunch in your bag. And anytime you need to use one or you're switching environments, just put the camera in the bag, zip it up, and leave it to acclimatize. And same thing goes for like shooting in tropical conditions. If you're going from a really cool room to a hot, humid exterior location, put the camera in the bag, and then you can actually take your Ziploc bag with the camera in it and throw it in your backpack and just leave your backpack open a little bit so the air can circulate, because your backpack air is probably cold too, right? And there you go, now you know. So hopefully that helps you guys out if you're new to photography and using cameras in extreme conditions. And if you have any questions, leave them down below and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Peace out. Oh, one more thing. How's this retro filter? Do I look retro? Is it retro? Hold on, let's take it off and we'll see a little before and after. All right, there we go. Before and after, side by side. All right, that's the end of the video. See you guys in the next one.